The first Bingham Fellows cohorts came together around the topic of affordable housing. And this work resulted in the launch of the Housing Partnership in 1991. It is still doing work 30 years later. Bingham Fellows have addressed community health and education. In 2014, they explored economic development in the West End. And one of the outcomes of that was the creation of One West. Our dear friend and community leader, Yvonne West, is leading the charge on community development, corporation committed to elevating our entire city through commercial development growth in West Louisville. The power of this program has the ability to attract experts and leaders outside of our city, and we have the opportunity to undergird and support them. How we leverage the strengths of the center to increase equity and inclusion has been a major focus of strategy sessions for the board and staff. And when board members met to help determine the topic for Bingham Fellows class of 2021, we all knew that there was nothing more urgent nor important than the topic of belonging. It was such a compelling topic that I decided to not just play a part in what it was going to be, but to actually put in my application to be a participant. Before we dive deeper into the topics, I do want to thank an amazing group that really challenged us, made us think about what we were doing, whether or not it would be impactful, what else existed in the community that we might want to be collaborating with. The steering committee for the class of 2021 helped guide us tremendously. And without their feedback and guidance, I don't know that we would have landed where we did with the projects that were chosen. And I'd like to introduce them and really thank them for their help. Jessica Green, former Louisville Metro Councilwoman and newly sworn in Circuit Court Judge. Ashley Duncan, Director of Inclusion and Diversity with Republic Bank. Christina Shadle, Director of Investment, Louisville Urban League. Scott Shaflin, Partner at EY. Kelly Watson, Equity and Compliance Officer with MSD. Tom Williams, Attorney, Stoll, Keenan and Ogden. And Sarah Davisher Wisdom, President and CEO of Greater Louisville, Inc. We are truly, truly grateful for the time that the steering committee generously donated to help guide this class, and we do have a small token of appreciation. Would you please all join me in giving them a round of applause? There is one more person that I have to say, I never had a chance to see him in action, who helped co-facilitate the class of 2021 alongside leadership Louisville staff and brought his expertise to the topic, and that's Mr. Al Cornish of the Closing Gap Consulting Group. Let's thank Mr. Cornish. And now, to talk more about this topic, that the group was charged with this year, please join me in welcoming a young woman that I am so proud that T-Bain could help send through this program, activist, influencer, public speaker, and founder of 50/50 Mentoring Collaborative, Nicole Hayden. Mama, mama, can't you see what the system's done to me? They locked us up, they put us down. There ain't no justice in this town. There ain't no justice in this town. I like that. 2020 was a year that changed many people. A global pandemic, isolation in our homes, economic uncertainty, job losses, and in the midst of all of that, the largest global outcry for the justice of Black lives, sparked by the deaths of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, George Floyd in Minneapolis, Ahmaud Arbery in South Georgia. For several months, the eyes of the world were on Louisville as thousands of demonstrators marched the city to demand in the systems and institutions that led to the death of an innocent Black woman. The death of a Black woman in her own home, Louisville, justice has not been served. Say her name. Say her name. Arrest, tear gas, sound cannons, the National Guard, police in riot gear, the deaths of David McAtee, the deaths of Tyler Girth. These deaths define the summer of 2020 for countless protesters here in the city of Louisville. Protests, policy, and politics. That's how we're moving. Louisville, it is your responsibility. It is our responsibility. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. And that's just what we did. Every year, Louisville Leadership Center seeks to address the most issues facing our city through the Bingham Fellows program. It is no surprise after this year, the topic for 2021 was belonging, building a culture of inclusivity. The most diverse class in Bingham's history. Give it up, give it up. Came together for a better understanding of what a more inclusive Louisville looks like. It quickly became clear that our group had a very specific goal. The guiding principle for all the projects that you're going to hear today, and that is to improve the lives of Black residents in Louisville, Kentucky. From better political representation to economic empowerment and all that means of Black folks in our community. This class sought out to raise up voices of those who might have been disenfranchised, ignored, or suppressed for centuries. Everything tonight you will hear about has been designed thoughtfully, strategically, to increase the political empowerment of a Black agenda. Investment capital for business startups and expansions, the opportunities to benefit from increasing supplier diversity, all these build wealth and political power for Louisville Black residents. It's a Black agenda. So, without further ado, I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing my Bingham Fellows class, the 3003 Project. Let's begin by introducing, and please put your hands together for my team members. Hold on, let me pause for a second, because y'all don't understand. Because they ain't gonna talk about the whole year. This program is a full year. It is a true commitment. A group of individuals got together for a full year, and when I tell you we worked, they worked, we all worked our butt offs to bring a bigger cause to Louisville. But without further ado, come on, ladies, give it up for Londa Davis and Cherie Davis Edwards.
Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident difficult to track its but then known perhaps we will continue to keep you informed as this story unfolds.
A Black woman was killed for this home. Her name was Breonna Taylor. No matter our zip code, the street we live on, every person in our community is the 3003 Project. It is all of our responsibilities to deconstruct racist policies and political systems and to rebuild. If we don't, what else and who else will we lose?
Thank you. Good evening. We are the 3003 Project. 3003 was Breonna Taylor's home address, the home where the Louisville Metro Police Department fatally shot her while serving a no-knock warrant. Breonna Taylor died that night because of the color of her skin, because of policy after policy failed her, and policy after policy that has failed Black people for centuries. American life today is one deep in inequalities, resulting from hundreds of years of discrimination, disenfranchisement, and disempowerment for Black people. Black people in the United States experience daily discrimination across all areas of life. Policing and criminal justice, access to health care, education, safe neighborhoods, and healthy food options. These experiences are not isolated. Rather, they are a product of a systemic pattern of discrimination that has significant and far-reaching implications for Black people and our communities. Beginning with the enslavement of entire communities of Africans, to the legalization of Jim Crow laws, to the post-Depression housing policies, to the fight against the teaching of critical race theory in K-12 classrooms today, the American political system and white people in positions of power at all levels of government instituted policies and practices that intentionally diminish the power of Black people. We can't go back and change history, but we can change the future.
Inspired by the necessity to reverse the systemic failures that led to the death of Breonna Taylor, the 3003 Project works to build a Kentucky where Black people and communities thrive, with the understanding we all rise when we rise together. An umbrella for 3 new organizations, the 3003 Project will advance leaders, policies, and systems to help promote a more equitable Kentucky. The 3003 Collaborative is a 501c3 organization with 3 main areas of focus: educate, encourage, and equip. The 3003 Collaborative educates by hosting community forums and uses traditional and social media platforms to broaden community awareness of the political systems and policies that persistently and disproportionately impact Black Kentuckians. The 3003 Collaborative encourages community members of all ages to take action through advocacy, volunteerism, and voting. And third, we equip by building a pipeline of pro-Black political candidates and providing training workshops, clinics, and networking events to help prepare pro-Black candidates for running and building their platform. By providing the community and candidates with the information and tools they need to engage in the political process, we can shift political power disparities in Louisville and across Kentucky. The 3003 campaign is a 501c4 organization with 3 main areas of focus: fundraise to support pro-Black policies and candidates, lobby elected officials and policymakers to vote for and create pro-Black legislation, and third, amplify the work of pro-Black community organizers to mobilize people on pro-Black issues. By advocating and lobbying for pro-Black policies and issues and helping to galvanize grassroots voter mobilization efforts, we can change what becomes policy and law locally and statewide. The 3003 PAC is a 527 or political action committee that will interview and score candidates on their support for pro-Black policies and legislation. The 3003 Project has developed a scorecard to be distributed electronically to candidates for multiple positions in the 2022 primary and general elections. We endorse pro-Black candidates in state and local elections, and third, contribute financially to state and local political candidates in Kentucky for those who are committed to ending structural racism. By supporting pro-Black candidates and giving them the financial resources and public acknowledgement they need to win, we can change Louisville and Kentucky's political landscape.
There's a place for everyone in the 3003 Project. Here's how you can help. Use your voice, your networks to share the 3003 Project's vision. Follow us, make posts, share, tag, be a voice for change. There is no shortage of work to be done. We need your help. Sign up to be a Project 3003 ally. We are actively seeking board members and committee volunteers for all three Project 3003 entities. Are you interested in helping to build a pipeline of the next generation of pro-Black leaders? Are you interested in advocating for areas important to you? Contact us and let us know how you can join the 3003 Project and be a catalyst for change. Become a 3003 Collaborative founding donor by making a financial commitment. Just like every vote, every dollar counts to build a more equitable Louisville, a more just Kentucky. No contribution is too small. We have partnered with the Fairness Campaign to serve as our fiscal sponsor, so you can make your donation through our website, by mailing a check to the Fairness Campaign, or completing a pledge card today. You will find your pledge card in the Bingham Fellows report. Our goal is to raise $303,000 to build the project's capacity.
We are eternally grateful to the partners and contributors who helped to launch the 3003 Project. Everyone has a role and a place in the 3003 Project. Please encourage others to get engaged. Creating a Kentucky where Black people thrive is a shared vision for Louisville and Kentucky. The Bingham Fellows program through Leadership Louisville opened the door for us to work strategically to respond, create, and deepen the opportunity of access and belonging. Our passion and our voice for inclusivity and equity led to the 3003 Project. Our team is committed to serve as the working board, but we need your help. We need your help in amplifying the voices of those who do not get heard. We need your help because policy change is an essential tool for repairing generational damage. Join Team 3003. With your help, we believe that we can help achieve the best version of Louisville, but it requires bold action and to create change and justice. The 3003 Project is a critical movement for that change. Join Team 3003. All right, please close your eyes and keep them closed. Listen. That is the sound of silence. That could be the sound of justice. Thank you.
Thank you. The next team also concentrated on improving the lives of Black residents in our community. BEBA, the Black Equity Business Alliance, is focused on accelerating the success and financial sustainability of Black-owned businesses to reduce the racial wealth gap. Tawana Bain and Kendall Boyd will share the progress BEBA has made over the last year and the exciting initiatives they have planned for the future.
Okay, so we'll take this here. Hello again. Is that working? All right, you're controlling the slides. All right. This is my third time talking today. BEBA, the Black Equity Business Alliance, has been a lot of fun, and all of our team, if I don't say it before I leave, thank you all so much for just the nights, the days, the early mornings, and I know not all of them could be here with us today. But what you're looking at behind me on this screen is our team. I do want to say a quick thank you to Chrissy. Her and Wendy really helped keep us all together. And Chrissy one afternoon said, let's go down to Dripping Crab. So if you have not been, please go. It was such an amazing menu, but great camaraderie as we were really thinking about and envisioning what does the Black Business Equity Alliance look like and who are we shaping up to be. All right, so we are starting with a really strong foundation for success. All of the organizations that you're seeing here on this screen were part of our group. We have Dana Johnson with GLI, myself, founder of Derby Diversity Week, and Wendy with One Southern Indiana. I do want to point out that as we formed the Black Equity Business Alliance, we put out an RFP through our connections into the community, and we did not get the response that we wanted. So, when you don't get what you want, you got to figure it out and make it work. And so because the three of us, one being a Black-founded and Black-led organization, and through the support of our chambers, because of what it is that we're looking to accomplish, decided to join forces and make it happen together. I also want to point out that as we venture out, we're going to do this for a year with these three organizations and put the RFP out again, and we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But our advisory board does consist of all of our BEBA team members. So we're feeling really good about that because we made the decision that we would all commit $1,000. And so our organization starts with $10,000 with 100% participation from our group. And that's important, right? Having commitment from everybody that's involved. Oh, did we turn it off?
My name is David Overall, and I'm the founder and CEO of 1021 Specialists. We help companies take the guesswork out of their interior space projects. I just recently heard a very frustrating statistic. Only 2.4% of Louisville-owned businesses are Black-owned. And the reason why that's frustrating to me is because I see a lot of individuals that would love to be able to start their own company and be essentially their own boss, but be able to do a lot of different things. And it's very frustrating because a lot of times we don't have access to capital or access to the different connections. And honestly, we just want to be on an equal playing field. One of the reasons why I feel like that number is so low is because a lot of times we don't have access to the connections, the capital, or the resources. And the other day, I ran into a lady who had she had a great idea. Initially, she started her own company, but couldn't really take the next steps for those exact reasons. And I would like to see that changed here in the near future. So when I first heard about BEBA, I actually got very excited because what they are planning to do is to be able to help individuals like myself be able to take the next step, have access and the connections. Years ago, I was given the opportunity to be able to start my own company, and I'm very thankful for that. And so I really appreciate your time, and I'd like to thank you for willing to partner with Black entrepreneurs such as myself.
So as you heard the gentleman in the video talking, you could see the frustration and the pain in his face being a black business owner in Louisville. Let's think about this for just a second. 23.4% of the Louisville population identifies as black or African American. And of that 24%, only 2.4% of the total businesses in Louisville are owned by people that look like that statistic. What does that mean? For every dollar that's spent with a Louisville business, 2.5 cents goes to a black business. Perhaps you didn't hear me. For every dollar spent, 2.5 pennies goes to a black business here in Louisville. This is not by accident. This is by design. Now, I won't get into the root causes as to how we got here, but what I wanted to address is, how do we get out of this? How do we match dollar for dollar money going to black businesses, eradicating this racial wealth gap that we see not just in Louisville, but across the country? We can't afford to have this racial wealth gap anymore, and this is what BEBA is going to address. So what are our key objectives? For one, what we want to do is we want to accelerate growth and financial sustainability of black businesses to reduce the racial wealth gap. Notice we said accelerate, not incubate. We can no longer wait anymore. You know, we've heard this time and time again through history. Wait your turn, trickle down, it will happen. If anything has shown us over the last couple of years, we can't wait any longer. We must accelerate black business. What we're going to do is we're going to connect black businesses to strategic revenue opportunities. There's a lot of money flowing through Louisville right now. Most of you may have heard about the Norton's project down in West Louisville, $100 million hospital going in. How come some of that money can't benefit and enrich West Louisville and black Louisvillians? We're going to establish forums for thoughts on leadership and business education, what we call our quarterly roundtables. Get to the table with successful business people, CEOs, people who make things work in Louisville, and learn from them. Work together to, again, enrich the black community and eliminate this racial wealth gap that we see in our community. We're going to foster partnerships to increase the representation and utilization of black-owned businesses. In my former life, I was the executive director of the Human Relations Commission. We certified black and minority and female-owned businesses. I can't tell you how many times I've seen certified black businesses fail to be used because of intentional discrimination, or black businesses just can't handle the work. We don't trust a black business to do this correctly. Again, we must foster this partnership to gain this trust and utilization of these black-owned businesses. Furthermore, we're going to promote black business, success, and entrepreneurial courage. Having your own business is a very scary endeavor, and we want to give people the confidence and the courage to go out and say, I can do this. If anybody else can do this, we can do this. Again, we're going to eliminate this racial wealth gap.
Thank you, Kendall. So some of the key initiatives, thank you. We want to enable corporations to procure goods and services from black-owned businesses. We want to connect black-owned businesses to resources to support long-term growth. And we want to recognize corporations that achieve spending goals with established programs through Derby Diversity Week, the Greater Louisville Chamber of Commerce, and 1SI. We're going to celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit of black-owned businesses by recognizing them as well through our awards program, and establishing metrics and reporting on black business utilization, because I know one thing, as a business person, and as not just on the business side, but even in my advocacy work, when we began to ask many of the corporations in this city, how much do you spend with black businesses, none could answer the question. But they could answer how much they were spending with minorities. The issue with that is minorities count for so many diverse groups. You got women, you got LGBT, you got Latina, you got veteran, you got disabled. But if we're having an issue with black, then we need to track it. So we're building connections because we want to mind the gap. You're going to have corporations at the table, and our format that you'll see in a moment is CEO to CEO. So we have quarterly CEO roundtables where we have CEOs of majors and CEOs that are Black-owned, because one thing we understand is you do business with people you know, you do business with people that you like, but we understand that we have to create an entire ecosystem. So from metro government, our chambers of commerce, whom are already at the table, financial institutions, Bridge, one of the programs that we're going to talk about after hours, the businesses themselves, and then of course the accelerator programs. And I think that's important to share because we're not here to duplicate. Right? There are businesses or organizations that are already doing work to provide resources. What we are here to do is foster relationships CEO to CEO. That is the unique approach that we're taking.
And if I could add a real quick side note to this, it says metro government on this slide. We're coming up on an election this year in 2022. We're going to have a new mayor in 2023. So first, make sure you're registered to vote. Second, go vote both the primary and the general election. And three, bring this to people that are running for office. Ask them how they feel about this. What are they going to do to address this racial wealth gap?
So let's talk performance metrics. So we talked a moment ago about what we're not tracking. And I don't think that we're not tracking it by design. I don't think that it was at the forefront, nor do I think that it wasn't that important. The reality is, as an entrepreneur, I know all too well I have gained my success by being an entrepreneur, by being able to make my own money, by being able to provide goods and services. But even today, there are a lot of people in corporate America that don't get it. Just about a month and a half ago, if that, I had someone in a procurement department say, so what if she's Black? That doesn't make her special. Because they do not understand how critical it is to ensure that we're doubling down and not losing our Black talent, and specifically our Black contractors. So we want metrics. Not only do we want to know the percentage that you're spending with Black-owned businesses, we want to know the amount of money that you're spending with Black-owned businesses. We want to know the number of Black-owned businesses being utilized. We want to celebrate those that have most improved. And then we also want to establish a Black Supplier Inclusion Index. How did we come up with the metrics, or why did we decide metrics? Well, there is an average in what corporations are spending nationally with diverse or minority-owned companies, and that ranges between 13 to 20%, with 8% being the median. So we thought we'd come out in our state here in Kentucky with 10% for minority-owned businesses. And if you are meeting that criteria today, we invite you to become a corporate alliance partner for BIBA. We're also looking, after your first year in the alliance with us, for you to increase that spend by at least 2%, specifically with Black-owned. And we will be giving out special recognition at our annual events, as well as recognizing through our CEO roundtables quarterly. So, proof of concept. We mentioned our partner GLI. We have Dana here, Sarah Davisher Wisdom, myself, and Wendy sat together to try to figure out what was realistic. I mean, we're all busy. We have a lot going on. How do we utilize the existing platforms that we have and the existing structures that we have to pull this off? So we proved out that concept on February 23rd. The format was very similar to the format that we had been structuring in our class, and the response to the CEO roundtable was extremely overwhelming. It was so powerful after we had the opportunity to introduce BIBA that we already received an inquiry from one of the CEOs that would like to sit down and do lunch. The topic during that call was conversations on how to create an inclusive business community and culture of belonging inside of Greater Louisville businesses, and the Black business that we featured was Stacy Wade with Nimbus. The next CEO roundtable will take place during Derby Diversity Week. For our corporate partners that are in the room, and for those of you that are in leadership for supplier diversity that are in the room, we have a Black-founded organization that puts on a conference during the week of the Derby. And I'll often ask, oftentimes, why are you not there, right? It's not about, you know, I got a lot of things going on, because at the end of the day, the reality is we need more large Black-founded experiences, and we have one. And we're gonna hold that CEO roundtable on Thursday, May 5th, and it will have a construction focus. I'm extremely excited about it because not only will we hear about opportunities right here in Kentucky, but it allows our corporate partners to reach outside of the state for Black talent as well. We talked about recognition during existing awards program. Thursday evening during Derby Diversity Week, we hold the Derby Diversity Isaac Murphy Legacy Awards. This year, we are incorporating a BIBA award that our BIBA Advisory Committee will delegate an individual that we recognize for their forward movement with Black-owned businesses. I'll let Kendall talk a little bit more about the content that we're going to cover in that roundtable.
And the reason this construction CEO roundtable is so important is, again, I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of capital investment coming to Louisville. And so why shouldn't people of color, especially Black businesses, benefit from this influx of dollars when it comes to capital spend? So what BIBA will do is we'll connect Black-owned construction companies with funded development, projects that focus on enhancing the quality of the West End. You see some of the projects up here on the screen. For example, again, the Norton's Hospital that's going in West Louisville, that's a $100 million project going into West Louisville. Why can't Black businesses have some of that money trickle down to them? Not only just trickle down, but again, help eliminate this racial wealth gap. So this construction CEO roundtable is going to be very, very critical and very, very important for Black construction workers and Black construction owners to get in on these sort of projects and learn the skills and the trades and have these important conversations as to why utilizing Black subcontractors and contractors is super important. In Q3, we will have One Southern Indiana will also sponsor the CEO Roundtable. These C-level executives will represent the Louisville area corporations, and the topic that's going to be discussed there are conversations on implementing and sustaining an inclusive business community and cultural belonging for the greater Louisville businesses. As you see, I wear my hair natural, right? We had our young prodigies over here talking about the Crown Act, and they were key supporters of that. This isn't unbusinesslike. This is me, and I belong at the table, and I can make creed decisions.
All right, so as we close, we shared some of our upcoming events with you. The CEO Roundtable will focus on construction May 5th. August 18th will be One Southern Indiana. We will be reissuing the RFP again for someone to serve as the program manager and leader of BIBA, and that will happen in October. And then we will start all over again in 2023. And then fourth quarter, of course, will be GLI's grand finale. I'm really looking forward to that event. And then we'll start all over for 2023. How do you connect with us? You can reach us by email. Be patient with us. We all have about 5 jobs. But this is where you can reach us by email. I say give us at least 2 to 3 days to respond. Or you can go to our website, blackequitybusinessalliance.com. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. I don't know that we have a post yet, but hopefully we get some good content from tonight's event. I thank you so very much. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Kendall to introduce our next team.
Thank you, Tawana. And in keeping with our theme of belonging and inclusivity, the Bridge team focused on providing equitable, efficient, and timely deployment of capital to the Black community of the greater Louisville area. And so here to tell you more are Tiffany Bridgewater, Justin Brown, Chris Garrett, my girl Keisha D, and Andrew Renda. Come on up, Bridge.
Good afternoon. I'm waiting on the video. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I apologize, I was waiting on my cue from the screen. I think Danielle should have it. Yep. Danielle, do you have the clicker?
No, I do.
Oh, okay, perfect, thank you.
I have the power.
All right, perfect, thank you. I apologize, thank you. Simply put, our mission is to increase the number of sustainable, scalable Black businesses in Louisville. Why is this important? What comes to mind when you hear white Louisville? Thriving people, abundance of resources, quality health care. What comes to mind when you think of Black Louisville? West Louisville, limited opportunities, poverty. The 10 most dangerous communities in Louisville are associated with Black Louisville, with 4 of the most dangerous locations in the West End. Black Louisville was the same as white Louisville before resources, investments, and support were withheld and withdrawn from Black residents. Clear, distinct boundaries were implemented that restricted Black residents from the quality of life they built and thrived in. These boundaries perpetuated, a stereotypical and false narrative about the ability of Black residents. Our journey today has brought us to where you see us here on this stage and what you've heard so far. But a beacon in our community, Nikki Lanier, CEO of Harper Slade Racial Equity Advisory Firm, has been working hard to raise our consciousness regarding the false narrative associated with Black people, ensuring that the truth about Black people and the potential of the Black community is recognized and supported. Now hear from Nikki Lanier in her own words.
So that when you have occasion to see or experience Black people, it's usually in service roles, so either in service to the white social construct here, and that's either like food service or in service to white comfort. It could be by virtue of entertainment, so we'll see folks dancing and singing on television, acting, we enjoy that. Or perhaps in the context of sport. But in any construct, it's almost always episodic. And so when we even experience those in those episodes, even that is riddled by a deficit narrative.
All right, keep that in mind. It's always riddled with a deficit narrative. Chris, please share a few facts and statistics about why Bridge Louisville decided to focus on sourcing capital to Black businesses.
Thanks, Tiffany. Capital is an essential ingredient for business growth. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that entrepreneurs of color have more difficulty gaining access to the resources needed to build strong companies. In fact, on average, white-owned businesses launch with about 3 times more capital than Black-owned businesses. Distrust in banks and fear of rejection is another major obstacle. For example, National Bureau of Economic Research data showed that highly qualified Black business owners are more than twice as likely as similarly qualified white business owners to not apply for a bank loan because they believe they will be denied. A core mission of Bridge will seek to fix any distrust by helping to foster communication, planning, and collaboration between our capital providers and Black entrepreneurs and businesses. Tiffany, did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Here's a video from Michael Jackson, owner and operator of Kentucky Greens, whose mission is to ensure healthy and affordable food options within the Black community.
So Kentucky Greens is focused more on people, health, mindset, just becoming a better person. So Kentucky Greens, we focus on working with Chef Rico, with Fork Dive, Louisville Nutrition, building partnerships that actually going to make our products more understandable. You don't have to eat a raw salad. You can actually dress this up to fit your, taste. Partnerships is going to help us build a better, healthy Louisville, point blank period.
All right. You've seen in Michael's video the impact funding has in the Black community and how it fulfills the needs of Black residents. Justin, how will Bridge address the urgent need to increase and sustain Black businesses?
Well, thank you, Tiffany. Our plan is to build a lending table for Black businesses to connect more easily with and place capital needs in front of banks and lending institutions. Our table will be a formal time together, a regularly scheduled meeting with the single purpose of focusing capital on projects that are ready and able to take traditional lender financing. Local lenders are already making loans and already talking to each other about loans, already searching for good opportunities and discussing best practices. This will be an additional mechanism to help get more business done. So they'll sit down around the lender's table regularly. They'll go over opportunities and maybe opportunities that they have not seen before, to consider loans that don't always reach their desks, but which have come to the table with a worthy business plan and an understanding and a readiness to take capital and understanding what it means to take that capital, to believe in some of the opportunities that are worthy of that belief. When it comes to the goals of what we're trying to do, we have 4 main goals, which you can see up here. But the main overarching goal is to help individuals, just like Michael, achieve their dream of building a successful business. This isn't about trying to replicate what's already been done. This is about trying to partner with them and get capital to those businesses that are working with those partners. Put simply, more successful Black entrepreneurs means more jobs, more opportunities, and more growth for the city of Louisville. So to help us achieve our goals, we'll need a little bit of help, a little bit of financial help. And hey, Andrew, can you help us with that?
Thanks, Justin. So speaking of capital, Bridge Louisville needed some capital to get started. So I want to introduce a video from my Humana colleague, Keisha Smith. Keisha, are you in the room somewhere? Keisha, there's Keisha Smith. Keisha Smith is the Associate Director of the Louisville Community of Opportunity work, which is part of the Health Equity and Community Engagement team at Humana. So without further ado, play a short clip from Keisha.
Humana supports Bridge's vision and mission as it aligns to Humana's bold goal, and that is to improve the health of the people and communities that we serve. We are addressing social determinant health, and we're making it easy for people to achieve their best health. We also support Bridge by ensuring they are aligned to Humana's health equity through the elimination of unnecessary, avoidable, and unjust differences in health, wealth, and access to care. Bridge also aligns with Humana's Louisville Community of Opportunity, where we have a distinct focus on the Black population in West Louisville. Those goals align to workforce development, community health, and ensuring access to sufficient and actual culturally competent care. Therefore, Humana has sponsored year 1 of Bridge to hire a director and build a sustainable infrastructure. Humana believes that your health should not be limited by your background, where you live, the resources that you do not have access to, systematic factors like racism and discrimination. Humana supports Bridge's goal to facilitate the equitable deployment of capital to the Black community in Louisville, because growing businesses leads to improved generational wealth, and improved generational wealth leads to improved generational health.
All right, so that was a mic drop, right? Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Humana. And now to talk about, so that gets us through the first year, but we really want to talk about sustainability of this work. And so for that, I'm going to introduce you to my Bingham Fellow colleague, Keisha, to talk about sustainability.
They gave me a mic, y'all. Watch out. So the Bridge team learned very early on sustainability matters after Bingham Fellows. Bridge put some steps in place to ensure the project lives on after today. Bridge will become a 501c3 within the first year, but during the long IRS application process, Inspire, a Park Community Initiative, Inc., will be Bridge's fiscal sponsor. Inspire, a philanthropic organization that addresses both behavioral health and financial wellness in historically marginalized communities. Bridge will hire a consultant or director to oversee the project and build and establish our lending table. The original Bridge team will stay on the advisory board. After year one, Bridge will sustain by advancing different mechanisms of support. And so now our call to action. Bridge Louisville's goal is to increase the number of Black-owned businesses thriving in our community. It will provide opportunities for Black businesses to have a seat at the table with local lenders for the purpose of increasing revitalization, building generational wealth, and most importantly, providing sustainability for the growth of our Black community. To ensure long-term sustainability, we need collaboration amongst community partners. At this time, I'd like everybody to raise your hand. You are now committed to working with Bridge. With financial institutions and also financial support, we need you all. Please visit us on our website at www.bridgelouisville.com for information on how you can support our movement. And now we leave you with these final thoughts.
But we do now understand, hopefully, over the past several years, that this idea of righting past wrongs and being immersed in the remedy that's associated with race and equity is countercultural.
I want to thank everyone on behalf of this amazing team. My partners behind me, our partners to the left of me over here, the Bridge team. I want to thank our community partners. Dave Christopher was instrumental and gave us a lot of advice. Michael Jackson, of course, you saw on the screen, Miss Nikki Lanier, and Tara Level. And additional thanks to Christina Shado, Conrad Daniels, Gina Dunlap, who helped us in the early days of our project to really help us get grounded in what we needed to think about in terms of the historical racism in Louisville and also sort of the financial struggles of Black Louisvillians. So we really appreciate their help and support. We also want to give a big shout out to Bridget McKnight and Maverick Marketing for their input, guidance, and support, and for everyone that helped us in acknowledging that this is a needed investment in the Black community. We also want to recognize our lending partners for their commitment and understanding of the importance of building and enhancing the Black community in Louisville. Thank you, Bridge Louisville team. I had to put everybody's name. I didn't want to forget anybody. Justin, raise your hand. Danielle is in the back, holding us down in the back. Keisha, Chris G, Kelly, Gladys. I see you, Gladys. Sarah, Karen, Andrew, Chris S., Frank, and Jeff. Thank you guys so much for your help and support. And thank you, Leadership Louisville, for allowing us the opportunity to make an impactful contribution to the Black community. You see our handles and our website above, just like Biba, we're slowly getting ourselves up to speed. So if you get to the website and you can't get a response right away, just hold on, we're gonna get to you. Thank you so much.
My name is Aaron Miller. I'm the Director of Community Leadership for the Leadership Louisville Center, and I invite members of each team to come back up because we've got a couple of minutes for Q&A, so if any of you have questions, we have time for one or two questions from the audience or from our virtual participants who we appreciate being here. But while they come up, let's have a round of applause for all of our Bingham Fellows. In fact, if you were a member of the Bingham Fellows class of 2021 and you are here, please stand up and be recognized. Okay, I have lights in my face and I can't see hands very well. If you have a question, put your hand up and I'm going to walk further out so I can hopefully see if you have a question for the teams.
The 10 most dangerous neighborhoods? That one, yeah.
Did you have a question specifically about it, or can we get that data to you after this if we can't pull it up? Okay.
We'll try to pull that up. If we don't.
Thank you.
Right here.
What sort of outreach and participation have you received from the local banking community?
We received some pretty good outreach, actually.
Step up to the mic so the virtual.
Sorry, thank you. We've received really good outreach, actually. So admittedly, most of the outreach was on our end to them at first, but everyone that we've met with has been very, very responsive. We're putting together sort of the parameters for the table. The biggest thing we want to do is we're also working with our community partners right now to ensure that we have projects that are ready to take capital. So when we convene this thing, we're gonna get a deal done. I'm really proud to say, though, that we've got a number of folks. They're both non-traditional financing institutions, traditional lenders, and of course, both of our two CDFIs, Park and El Home, have both committed to the table. So we're very excited.
Question up here, is that Mary Ellen? No, no question.
The CEO of El Home, I might add.
No questions, Mary Ellen? Woo!
Any other questions for our Bingham Fellows?
I have a question. So, I'm so impressed with the presentations, and this comes at the heels of some major issues in our community. You know, and I sort of, you guys know I'm a warm and fuzzy person, those of you that know me on the stage, but you guys are tackling issues here that the whole world is sort of watching you. And I would imagine you all had some really tough conversations, as I don't want to beat around the bush, but there's a lot of diversity on the stage right now, and I'm sure everybody comes from different perspectives and backgrounds, and so I guess I would just ask you all as people participating in this process, is there anybody that learned something or was surprised by something about the community, the issues that we're facing? Optimism?
I will say, JP, that.
Keisha, would you repeat the
No,
question?
here. God. There's Aaron. JP, what I will say is, and I can speak only for myself, but that there was a significant amount of strong and hard conversation and emotions that went with it. But here's the thing that I will tell you, every single person in our Bingham group, no matter in this group, or that group, we all loved Louisville. And we know, no matter what is happening across the globe right now with the racial unrest, that we wanted to dedicate our time to break the chains of racism and oppression in our city, period. No matter how we got there, that was a commonality among everybody. We may have had different views, we may have had different opinions, but we all loved Louisville, and we all knew Black Louisville needed to strive to be successful. So, hope that helps.
One more question right over here. There's actually a microphone I just found out that is set up if you would ask into the microphone. Would have been nice if I had been aware of that prior. Sorry about that, JP.
I am probably the wrong person to have this microphone in this room.
Stay sharp.
If you could, I was wondering if we could bring that slide up back about the 10 most dangerous communities in Louisville. And we could leave it up.
I'm getting the wave from the back that I don't know that we can.
Okay, it was up at first, but it's okay. So I wanted to ask the question of the group who actually created that slide. Maybe a year and a half ago, does anybody up there know who was on there? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So I can help with that.
Yes.
So I am a transplant. I'm not a native Louisvillian. So all of this was really, it was eye-opening to me for a number of reasons. I don't think I realized how segregated Louisville is prior to moving here 7 years ago. And actually, in trying to come up with slide to really, for me, it was really important to sort of help people understand the difference between, again, what we said was white Louisville and black Louisville. So I just did a simple search on Google, and I put in Prospect's zip code 40059, and that was the shot of the sort of scenic shot of the sunset and the beautiful building with a kind of lived experience. And then I sort of did another shot, and they were both kind of kind of realtor things, and looked up zip codes, and actually that came up.
Yeah.
And so what I tried to do on the original shot, they were all sort of in a row, but we really wanted to capture that the top four, if you look at just the percentages, you have sort of the population and then the percentage of crime in Louisville. So that was really eye-opening to me. I don't think I realized the discrepancy between the two. And so I really wanted to make an impact and show people sort of what we want to try to do. We absolutely want to help improve the lives of black Louisvillians all over, but this was just striking to me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And the reason that I asked that question was because about a year and a half ago, it was a community up there called Russell. And so what I want to point out is now Russell is one of the probably the biggest funded West End community. And so what I wanted to recognize is, do you know what happens when people are resourced, when communities are funded? Russell is getting a major makeover. I am absolutely proud of it. I've been a Russell resident now for almost 22 years. But I just wanted to show people what happens when resources come to under-resourced communities. Russell now has the village, they have a bank, they have a restaurant, and all of these things, and they have new apartment buildings. Yes, thank you. And so, to all of the people who are sitting in here, Humana, I just wanted to show what happens when communities are resourced and are funded, and they are intentionally focused on. So I hope that when we come back, maybe in 2023, that this will not look like this. So thank you again.
I want to throw it out there real quick that Stachelle is the CEO of the Hope Bus, and her organization has been selected by the city of Louisville to lead the task force setting up the homeless village and stuff in the city of Louisville. So it's a fantastic organization. Stachelle's a fantastic leader. If you're looking for somebody to maybe try to partner with from a nonprofit standpoint, I highly encourage you guys to reach out to her. So.
We are unfortunately out of time for Q&A, so I do want to thank is there someone else? I can't even see. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
Hey, y'all. My name is Andre Flowers, and I'm a part of the Real Young Prodigies. But my question is, hold on. Okay. How would these programs help African American youth, especially youth most impacted by violence in this city?
That's a great question, so thank you for asking. I will say, and I can only speak for our project because I don't know the details to other projects, but the 3003 project, we have big, huge vision that we couldn't get to in a year. And so, part of the vision for our kind of outreach piece of our organizations is to work to do political education and create a pipeline for young people to be involved with policy making and understanding where power is hoarded in our communities, because oftentimes it's in the policy making and political arena that we don't understand that that's how things are distributed. And so we do have a vision in the near future to partner. One of our partners, one of our team members is with the YMCA. Like, we've talked about how we can work with the YMCA. Another team member is part of JCPS. How can we work with JCPS in the future to build this pipeline from middle school to high school to college to whatever. And so we want to make sure that Black folks get an opportunity to not just run for political office, but to know how the decisions are made and how we can be a part of that decision making and how we can influence things from young to older to ensure that we are thriving and we are safe and we are supported in Louisville and in Kentucky. So that is a big part of our vision for our organization. So thank you for asking that.
All right, I'm going to answer on behalf of Biba. The first thing that I want to say is it is good to see you all. This ties directly into one of the partners at the table, which is Derby Diversity Week. And I recall when you all set the stage on fire at the Derby Sneaker Ball last year. But here's the reality. Our role as leaders are to give you all outlets to be constructive and to be creative. And more so, to show you the vision and the dreams that you all have can be manifested. When we are bringing some of our community's major CEOs to the table, and you have Black founded or Black CEOs in the room where they can have conversations, those are your mamas, your daddies, your uncles, your aunties. How many of them in your family are entrepreneurs? You all have neighbors, you have family that are entrepreneurs. Oftentimes, they are not in the rooms with the CEOs. They're not. That can make decisions from the top down and ask their team to get involved and to support. So we're hoping that, as I mentioned earlier, we do business with people we know and people that we like, that we can stop the exclusivity where Black-owned businesses are not in the room, and they will be at the table with those that have some of the most power in this city, and we can see a change. And we hope that that trickles down to all of you.
Tiffany, go ahead.
I think for Bridge, it's really thinking about generational wealth. We want young students to be able to look at their moms and dads and see examples of people who know how to work with money and know how to save and know how to have a future. And too many Black folks all over the country just don't have that. You don't have the ability to go and get a loan because you don't have anything to leverage. So generational wealth is what we're looking for with Bridge.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Bingham Fellows. Come on down, Bingham Fellows. Come on down, Bingham Fellows. Thank you all so much for an amazing year. It was our pleasure at Leadership Louisville to be part of this, and we are so excited for all of the work. This event is a project launch party. We know the work is really just starting, but they have had an incredible year of building these projects and these teams, and we are very, very excited to present it to you tonight. We are almost ready to conclude for this evening, and I know we're slightly over on time, so thank you for your patience. But I do want to invite Joe Lloyd Triplett, who is the Leadership Program Manager for the Bingham Fellows. Because while one Bingham Fellows comes to a close, another one is just beginning.
Thank you, Aaron. And it's my pleasure this evening to also introduce you to the 2022 Bingham Fellows topic, which is moving downtown forward, adapt, and reinvent. I'll also be able to introduce to you the 2022 class that'll be tackling this critical issue. We now have the opportunity to leverage the dramatic changes we've faced to adapt and reinvent our city center. They will use what the past 2 years have taught us, the gaps it has uncovered, to redefine what downtown can be and do for Louisville, and to ask the question, how can we create a more vibrant, resilient, and equitable urban core? Please welcome the 2022 Bingham Fellows class. Their program is already underway, so stay tuned for their launch in January of 2023. Thank you for joining us this evening. The 3 projects that have been launched today need support from you and our community. I encourage you to please share this impactful work with all of your networks, and together, let's amplify the success of these teams. Please be sure to take a copy of their class report with you and share it with others. You can also find a digital copy, along with more information, at leadershiplouisville.org. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Please drive home safely, and let's give one final round of applause to the amazing work of the 2021 Bingham Fellows.